program, proudly brought to you by the 5-door Kia Rio with Air. Now drive away with nothing more to pay.
Channel 7 now brings you the dividends from Saturday night's lotto draw. Watch for the lotto draw here every Saturday night. SA Lotto every Monday night, Oz Lotto Tuesday night, and Powerball every Thursday night. All appearing here, 8:30 on Channel 7.
Register with My Property Watch at ljhooker.com.au. Then you can sleep easy while we search thousands of newly listed properties for you. When we've found one we think is right, we get straight back to you. Thank you, Mr. Hooker.
When I wake up in the morning, lift my weary head. I can't face today, I think I'd rather stay in bed. Feeling so deflated like the world has got me beat. But you're the special something that can get me on my feet. So I'm always glad to see you waiting there for me. And now I'm feeling better, and it's thanks to Tetley tea. Tetley, that's my cup of tea.
You can't eat a Hungry Jack's Whopper in the ordinary way. You've got to hold on with both hands, spread your knees, bend forward at the hips so you miss all the drips.
The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's. You want to use your frequent flyer points here, but the next available flight is here. Add it up to here. With the National Gold Rewards program, you can fly anytime with any airline. Call 13 13 12 about a National Gold card today.
Wake up in the morning, sleepy as can be. But I'm always glad to see you waiting there for me. And now I'm feeling better, and it's thanks to Tetley tea. Tetley, that's my cup of tea.
On Today Tonight, Adelaide's taxi terror.
You don't expect things like this to happen.
He stopped to help, but they doused him in petrol and torched his car.
The young lad was standing to the others, just burn him, burn him.
His exclusive story on 7.
A premiere movie adventure like no other when Anthony Hopkins and Cuba Gooding Jr. star in Instinct, tonight on 7.
This is 7 News.
Tonight, South Australia counting the cost after a weekend of wild weather. A family's terror after an attack by local football hooligans. And the British rowers down but not out in their record ocean attempt.
With John Riddell.
Good evening. First, emergency crews have responded to dozens more call-outs today with heavy rain and hail compounding damage inflicted by yesterday's storms. But there's a silver lining to the cloud, with West Coast farmers using the vital break in the weather to prepare for seeding.
Adelaide's bearing the scars of some rough treatment. Tons of precious beach sand washed away, and stormwater from the Barcoo outlet and the Torrens leaving an ugly beaches. Events like yesterday's tornado only hit the city a couple of times in a decade. At the end of it, hailstorms followed overnight.
As it moved in across out the airport there, heading towards the Mount Lofty Ranges and then out again, all in the space of probably half to 3/4 of an hour. Rapidly moving storms with hail.
And the Bureau's warnings about stock losses have proved well-founded, with reports of One Hills farmer losing 50% of his newborn lambs in the last 48 hours.
Their coats become laden with the water, and the wind that comes through produces rather severe wind chill.
It's no wonder there are some hangdog expressions out there, but the worst should be over, and hopefuls in tomorrow's Adelaide Cup at Morfordville are keeping an optimistic eye on the track, which is currently rated slow. While the far west is still dry, farmers on the lower Eyre Peninsula are keen to capitalise on the 25 millimetres they've received over the past 3 days.
If we can get another half, 3/4 an inch, you know, towards the end of next week, early the week after, we'd be laughing.
Bryony Hume, 7 News.
And while dozens of emergency service crews were busy cleaning up storm damage last night, 30 firefighters from the CFS and MFS battled to contain a blaze at One Tree Hill Road, Golden Grove. Flames were seen leaping from the windows at about 7:45, even though the house has been unoccupied for 12 months power, and investigators have traced the cause to an electrical fault. Damage is estimated at $1,000. Elizabeth family is warning local footy supporters about football hooligans after being skinheads. Their terrifying ordeal began on Norwood Parade after Friday night's match between the Redlegs and Central Districts.
Longtime Central District supporter Frank and his family will remember Friday night's game at Norwood Oval for all the wrong reasons. After the game, they were walking along the parade and window shopping when suddenly they were confronted by a group of rival supporters.
Before I knew it, I got king hit to the back of the head. I flew into the pane window, bounced off it.
Frank says his 11-year-old son was also hit and his wife was pushed around. He claims a gang of about 12 skinheads wearing footy scarves and chanting "Norwood, Norwood" carried out the attack. Frank says there's nothing wrong with friendly rivalry, but it shouldn't develop into harassment. Even though the attack happened outside the ground, he's not prepared to risk it again.
Basically, Central supporters get money thrown at them, you know, 20-cent pieces, stuff like that. Norwood Oval, I don't feel safe any longer. I think I've just come to my limit with that.
It's understood there is a gang of troublemakers known to the club, and it's believed they were also involved in a brawl outside Adelaide Oval after the Norwood and Port match 3 weeks ago. The club says it put on extra security staff for Friday night's match.
Inside the ground, we're happy to be as practical as possible to provide a safe environment, but outside the ground, there's only so much we can do.
Tricia Karp, 7 News.
South Australia's 14,000 teachers are set to accept a new wage deal thrashed out this weekend with the Rand government. The breakthrough signals an end to a long-running dispute over union demands for a 14.5% pay rise.
Precise details of the deal will remain confidential till teachers ratify the agreement on Tuesday, but both sides say it's the result of compromise. Instead of 14.5% more, it's closer to 12%, but with the promise of extra funding for added resources and staffing support in schools.
We'll be putting a recommendation to our members that the complete package be adopted. It's a significant package, one of the most significant in a decade.
Premier Mike Rann says his personal intervention in the dispute helped deliver the goods.
But what we did yesterday is basically stick to our guns, but we negotiated a much better deal. It's a better deal for government and for the teachers.
The new pay structure, to be phased in over 3 years, puts state school teachers on a par with their counterparts in the private system. Besides education, power is a government priority, and the Premier today announced our first mini hydroelectric scheme, using water flow at Mount Bold Dam and the Anstey Hill treatment plant.
Small but significant in that they'll power about 1,700 households. But there's some more that we're looking at, including one in the Adelaide Hills, which we think could even be bigger.
It's a joint project between SA Water and Hydro Tasmania, costing $5.5 million. Jackie Drewer, 7 News.
It's now just 7 hours until East Timor officially becomes the world's newest independent country. Prime Minister John Howard will join dozens of world leaders in Dili, where celebrations have already begun for the birth of a nation.
It was a warm greeting for the Prime Minister from the man who tonight becomes East Timor's president, former guerrilla fighter Xanana Gusmao. Mr Howard says Australians have a special affinity with their nearest neighbours.
This is very much an occasion to look forward to the future relationship between Australia and East Timor, and for all of us to wish the people of East Timor well.
Australian troops led final security sweeps ahead of ceremonies involving dozens of world leaders. Indonesian President Megawati Sukarno Putri will attend, spending just a few hours in the territory her country occupied for 24 years, and only a day after her Navy's presence in Timorese waters was branded provocative. The Prime Minister says Australia's aid and peacekeeping efforts in East Timor have cost around $2 billion. Today, he announced a $3 million health package.
At present, there are no practising East Timorese surgeons or specialists.
The world's newest nation is also among the poorest. East Timor's birthday party begins at midnight. Rowan Bridge, 7 News.
Tibet's spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, has made his first one-day Australian tour. He addressed a crowd of thousands in Melbourne. The theme of his tour, happiness in a material world. Earlier today, supporters protested outside Kirribilli House, urging the Prime Minister to meet with the Dalai Lama. But Mr Howard, already in East Timor, says it's not possible. China, which now rules Tibet, had lobbied Australian officials to steer clear of the Dalai Lama. 2 British rowers have vowed to relaunch their record rowing attempt from Australia to Africa, despite the bid almost costing their lives. The pair spent 14 hours clinging to their upturned boat before being rescued off the West Australian coast yesterday morning.
A tiny boat tossed in huge seas, dwarfed by a bulk carrier, the saviour of 2 intrepid rowers. British adventurers Simon Chalk and Bill Grieve spent 15 hours clinging to the upturned boat, stranded in the Indian Ocean off the mid-north coast of WA. The friends were just 2 days into a record-breaking attempt to row Madagascar. Australian Search and Rescue launched an aerial search for Bill and Simon after they set off an emergency beacon on Friday night. A merchant ship picked them up. An RAAF helicopter flew them to shore.
Going onto the top of the hull to try and get out the water and then being washed off the hull, and Bill scrambling back up and me scrambling back up and helping each other to stay awake and to keep with it, really. Glad to be alive. There were a couple of occasions last night I thought we were dead.
All their belongings went down with their boat. They're now stranded in Kalbarri.
We lost everything on the boat, passports, we haven't got a penny between us.
The rescue has cost Australian taxpayers around $30,000. And despite almost losing their lives, the rowers say they're ready to risk it all over again.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Chantel Marshall, 7 News.
Simple solution to avoid one of our biggest cancer risks. And the Queen horsing around as part of her Jubilee celebrations.
When your pets start playing power games...
The ranking order in this house is all wrong.
How do you reassert your position in the pecking order? Harry's practice at 6:30. Then at 7, all they wanted was a baby, but they got more than they bargained for.
Whenever I'm down,
I'm on a mission to help a couple who've just had triplets.
my friend.
I need you to give me this card. And the help that comes their way catches them unawares.
Surprising.
Wolf and his Undercover Angels, an all-new series tonight on 7.
Big, huh? It wasn't always. It started as a tiny seed. Then it got water and nutrients from the soil around it. It became a sapling with a root system and leaves. And that allowed it to make its own food. Money doesn't grow on trees, but it grows like trees. Your soup is your money. So go ahead, grow some. See a financial advisor or contact BT.
Nah, you're right. No, I'm quitting. Haven't you quit a few times? Yeah, but this time I'm serious.
Yeah, how serious?
Nicobate CQ.
Hey?
Clear patches, mate. But do they help? Yeah. Really handles the cravings.
For how long?
24 hours. Yeah. Gives me all the protection I need. Mate, you can never have enough protection.
Nicobate CQ. Committed to quitting.
I've got a seat here saved for you. No, I want you to sit down. Honestly, mate, it's just...
You'd be popular too if you're offering tax-free cars and trucks. Like Falcon, tax-free. Courier, tax-free. Blazer LXI, tax-free. But only till June 30, and only from your Ford dealer.
It's virtually impossible to make a Bose audio system sound any better. Unless it's a custom design and installation service. Bose from Grenfell Hi-Fi. Simply the world's best brands. Grenfell Hi-Fi.
So, you've grown your super and you're close to retirement. Did you know you can defer or eliminate lump sum tax by rolling into an allocated pension? See your financial advisor or contact BT.
The federal government is launching a major crackdown on the cash economy. Tax investigators will target areas where the GST isn't being paid and workers are getting cash in hand.
Transactions in cash, despite the GST, are still an opportunity for tax and welfare cheats to flourish.
You'll never eliminate it entirely, but it's our obligation to Australians generally to ensure the tax burden is shared fairly.
The Blitz will target industries which operate on cash payments. Employers will be forced to lodge tax file declaration forms for all workers to catch those who fail to declare income. And there'll be a crackdown on GST collection from small business.
We appreciate the support they've given us, the effort they've put in to improve their systems, but now it is time to enforce the law properly.
But the opposition says the target should be big business.
Not because big business behaves more worse than others, I don't think they do, but that's where the big money is.
And with the opposition vowing to block the budget squeeze on disabilities pension, it's claimed new evidence the government deliberately delayed the policy until after the election. Labor says the government had market research before the poll confirming strong public support for the disabilities pension. In Canberra, Chris Maher, 7 News.
Thousands of people have marched through the centre of London in a show of support for Palestinians in the Middle East. Muslims wearing traditional headbands marched alongside Orthodox Jews and Christian clergy. Many accused both Israel and the US of human rights violations. The rally remained peaceful despite calls for continued violence against Israel. And a Golden Jubilee celebration for the Queen featuring no fewer than 1,000 horses. It was a spectacular journey through 5 decades of her reign. 2,000 soldiers, dancers, musicians and actors added to the extravaganza. The Gold State Coach proved a fitting finale. It will form the centrepiece in the main Jubilee celebrations in about a fortnight's time. Now to a subject that's not the easiest to talk about, especially at dinner time, but maybe that's part of the problem. It's estimated that 1 Australian dies every 2 hours from bowel cancer, and doctors claim that figure could be cut drastically if only we changed our attitudes.
When doctors told 55-year-old Martin Timmins he had advanced bowel cancer, he was shocked. He'd always led a healthy lifestyle, so the diagnosis was the last thing he expected.
I had virtually no symptoms at all. I think that's a big danger with bowel cancer. You can have symptoms, but most people don't have virtually any. In my case, I was just feeling tired.
Within 3 weeks, Martin faced intensive chemotherapy and surgery to remove 2/3 of his bowel and a part of his liver. But doctors say all of this could have been avoided because bowel cancer is surprisingly easy to fix if it's caught early enough.
This is a cancer, when detected early, is absolutely curable. In fact, if you detect it in what we call the pre-cancer phase or the polyp phase, you totally prevent the cancer developing in the first place.
The trouble is, nowhere near enough people take the screening tests necessary for early detection. If you're over history of bowel cancer, then you're in the high-risk group. You can do the test yourself by picking up a kit at the pharmacy or by seeing your doctor. Sylvia Rappo, 7 News.
Now, Bruce joins us with sport, and not a good day for the Adelaide Crows.
I went to Canberra. It was cold, it was wet. Ryan Fitzgerald looks like a serious knee injury, and they lost. Stinker of a trip to Canberra.
That's a bad day out.
We'll have all the day's AFL highlights after the break, and Kostya Zoo is still the world.
How far would you go to protect someone you love?
You're just defending your family. You're not to blame.
They'll risk everything. Anthony Hopkins, Cuba Gooding Jr., Instinct. Do it on 7.
When software quickly connects supply and demand, that's 1 degree of separation. That's business with .NET from Microsoft.
If you're over 55 and don't work full-time, we challenge you to compare your current home and contents insurance policy with Australian pensioners' insurance agencies. Australian pensioners charge you no extra to pay your premium by the month. Are you paying extra? We have new for-old replacement on contents regardless of age, plus accidental glass breakage at no extra cost.
Are you paying extra?
Phone Australian pensioners and stop paying extra for your home and contents insurance now.
Pensioners Insurance Agency. Call 132 555.
Who you choose to manage your superannuation is critical. Over 20 years, just a 2% difference in performance each year will mean over $200,000 for you at retirement.
Treat super just like any other investment. Strong returns over time will mean that your retirement funds don't run out before you do.
Colonial First State, the smart way to secure your future.
No deposit,
No deposit, interest-free. That's no deposit, no money down at LeCornu. First time ever, 2 days only. 26 months, interest-free and absolutely no deposit. Sunday, Monday only, LeCornu.
Who gives you over 10% off 400-gram Whiskas cat food, just 87 cents each? We do. The big percentage off sale, now on at Woolworths.
Bringing food to life.
Welcome back. The Kangaroos have bounced back from a tough week to outlast Adelaide by 17 points at Manuka Oval. And the loss was further soured by a knee injury to forward Ryan Fitzgerald, which club officials fear the worst. The Crows had the chance to go equal top of the AFL ladder, but it was the Kangaroos who opened full of running after Dennis Pagan's midweek spray.
To Anthony Stevens, and he bounced one through. Well, that is a quick...
Mark Rasciuto celebrated 200 games by flattening Lee Colbert, then turned his hand to scoring goals.
And I think he's kept it. He has.
It may have been only 7 degrees, but Scotty Welsh was on fire for Adelaide, his third grabbing the lead early in the second quarter.
Somebody will kick this for sure. It doesn't miss.
But then things started to go wrong for the Crows, starting with Ryan Fitzgerald's knee injury.
Not good for Fitzgerald or the Adelaide Crows, and he is down.
The Roos regained the lead, and Daniel Harris needed to regain his senses after Mark Bickley left him dazed and confused. His teammates knew where they were, though, and led by 21 points at half-time. The rain came as Welsh continued to provide goals up forward for Adelaide, and when Matthew Clark turned rover early in the last quarter, the Crows were back to within 3 points.
Great start for the Crows.
Adelaide kept the pressure on, but couldn't grab the lead. The Kangaroos had the answer for every challenge, with Shannon Grant nailing 2 late goals to cap the 17-point win. At Colonial, it's been another long day for St Kilda. The Bombers led by 109 points at three-quarter time, but eased up to win by 99. Scott Lucas, the best of 13 different goal kickers.
St Kilda lost Hamill and Black before the opening bounce. Essendon jumping out of the blocks through Jason Johnson. Paul Salmon continuing his dream return to the AFL, helping the Bombers to a 9-point quarter-time lead. But Sheedy wasn't happy with what he saw, and the Bombers responded with 3 quick goals at the start of the second. They weren't about to ease up either, and by the 17-minute mark, they'd kicked 7 for the quarter.
Unselfishly, 7. The All-Stagers kicked the second.
Essendon continuing the second-term rot with ridiculous ease.
Harvey kicks the goal.
They ended up with 10 goals for the term, the Saints trailing by 65 points at the main change. The Avalanche continued after the break, pouring on goals early in the third term. Carousella kicking 3 of the Bombers' 8 for the quarter. Essendon with 21 goals to three-quarter time, 109-point change. St Kilda outscoring Essendon in the final term, but it was all too little too late as the Bombers held on to a percentage-boosting 99-point victory. The Saints only firing 1 shot for the day.
Clearly, Graham McMahon and I have had a disagreement. I've got absolutely no public comment to make on that disagreement. I'm certain I'll be catching up with Graham tomorrow, and we'll go through it. It's between Graham and I, no one else.
Chris Jones, 7 News.
And the pressure on Sydney coach Rodney Eade will increase this week after the Swans' capitulation to the Western Bulldogs in Sydney.
The Bulldogs had won their last 4 games against the Swans and had come to play again. Brown, Johnson and Darcy were part of a winning midfield. Their little men were hitting the target.
Under pressure.
Adam back to kick 3 goals in the second quarter for Sydney, but the Dogs held sway by 15 points at half-time. And they blew the game apart in the third quarter. Brown finished with 5 goals and Bandy 4 as the Bullies sailed home by 69 points.
With the left foot, they've got another one.
Last night in Perth, Fremantle kept its unbeaten home record intact when Jeff Farmer goaled after the siren to help the Dockers beat his old club by 5 points. David Neitz conceded the free kick with seconds left in the match, Farmer calmly converting the chance.
To win the game. He stuck it in. He celebrates.
And Collingwood underlined its standing as a premiership challenger, outlasting Brisbane by 3 points at Colonial. The Lions had the ball in the dying seconds, but couldn't hit a target.
He's got 2 men on in the middle. One of them's Headland. Here we go. This is the last roll of the dice. Headland's kicks a wobbler. There's the siren and Collingwood won.
Dion Heyman, 7 News.
To the ladder, and Brisbane and Collingwood share top billing. Port's third and takes on the Magpies on Friday night at Football Park.
The Crows slipped to 5th behind Essendon. Fremantle heads the bottom 8 along with the Kangaroos and Richmond. Sydney and Saints have slipped to 2nd bottom. One game in the local league today, and it was the Eagles who won a low-scoring contest at Noarlunga by 37 points. The round's completed tomorrow when West takes on Port at Richmond. Kostiazou is still the undisputed super lightweight champion of the world after dominating Ghana's Ben Taki in Las Vegas. He won by a unanimous points decision.
Not quite the crowd circus.
It's showtime!
In fact, Aussie fans had no trouble getting tickets, but it was money well spent. Kostya went into this bout hot favourite and with a purpose. He wanted to prove he was more than a brawler.
Right now he's just out boxing this guy. He's giving him a boxing lesson.
Taki sold advertising on his back. He probably went too cheaply. Wall Street got a full 12 rounds of exposure. Taki got 12 rounds of pounding.
What a strategic fight he's fighting. He just beat this guy up.
Taki did land the occasional telling blow, and Kostya required his usual post-round facial. But at the end of 12 rounds, 2 of the 3 judges had awarded every round to the Australian champ.
Today I've done exhibition for boxing exhibition to show the world that I've got not only power, I've got skills.
Kostya's not thinking of his next bout. He's about to become a father again. One thing's for sure, though, Taki won't get another shot.
We'll meet again. I don't think so.
Pat Welch, 7 News.
Mark Scafe has won his 4th straight round of the V8 Supercar Series in Darwin. There was plenty of drama in the opening race of the day.
Oh, Mark Larkin's caught up in that smash. John Faulkner's in there. Oh, that's messy down the back.
Rick Kelly crashed into fellow Holden driver Jason Bargwana, causing a 6-car pile-up. No one was seriously injured, but it took half an hour to clean up the carnage. Scafe won both today's races and is right on target for a record equalling 5th V8 championship. And finally, congratulations to our amateur footballers over in Perth. They beat WA by 32 points, so well done to them.
Fantastic.
So that's your sport tomorrow, Adelaide Cup Day.
Yep.
If you can't get down to Morphettville, right here on 7, we've got the race at 3 o'clock live. But it should be a good day at the track too.
Be a bit heavy, wouldn't it?
It's going to keep
I don't know much about
what?
horse racing, but I know more than you probably, but it's going to be heavy, isn't it?
It's going to be a good day.
So back a good one in the wet.
One with flippers.
There's a tip for you. The rain's easing for the holiday Monday. Well, that's good news. Shirley with the details next. And nice weather for the Million Tallest Walk, if you were a duck, that is.
Got enough points to get here, but you want to go here? Pay the difference in cash or credit and go. With the National Gold Rewards Program, you can fly anytime with any airline. Call 131312 about a National Gold card today.
Mum and Dad are going to be there, so make sure you wear something decent for a change.
Wear something, wear something, wear something, wear something.
Wear something decent. Peter Shearer Menswear, Rundle Mall.
Cunningham's are now cheaper. Large rolling organiser, now $9.99. Cheaper. Deluxe fold-up chairs, now $14.99. Cheaper. Pack of 20 2-ply toilet tissues, $3.99 a pack. Cheaper. Pack of 24 AA batteries, now $1.50 a pack, or 48 AA batteries for $2.99 a pack. A4 4-drawer storage cabinet, $11.99. Pack of 6 Australian-made Imperial leather soap, $2.99 a pack. Fashion reading glasses, $2.99.
Up and Go is a real breakfast with a real difference. It delivers the goodness of 2 Weet-Bix and milk in a delicious creamy smoothie you can enjoy anywhere. Real breakfast, real fast, for when you have to up and go.
You want to use your frequent flyer points here, but the next available flight is here. Had it up to here? With the National Gold Rewards Program, you can fly anytime with any airline. Call 131312 about a National Gold card today.
Now, I'm no bean counter, but this A&R end of financial year deal accounts for all your needs. This Pentium 4 with CD burner, internet, scanner, printer and software, plus this great computer desk and a free chair, all for $25.99 or $20.38 a week. Or flexi rent and get this bonus digital camera. Been to A&R? Noarlunga, Grove Street, Port Adelaide and Melrose Park. Yum.
Playing power games.
The ranking order in this house is all wrong.
How do you reassert your position in the pecking order? Harry's practice is next.
Good evening, everyone. We had yet another wild, wet and woolly day. Winter is certainly approaching with a vengeance, with more rain on the way tonight. Today, our 0.2 just before 1 this afternoon, and a low was 8.1 at 5. It's a chilly 10 degrees in the city. On our satellite image tonight, we can see that most of that frontal cloud is eastern parts of our state, but there is still another patch down here of cloud just south of us, which will produce more heavy falls and possible hail over our state tonight. Taking a look at the charts, the main feature is this complex low pressure system here, which is now moving out into the Tasman Sea. Today it kept dragging cold air up and around it, which is why we had more hail and heavy falls. The low is very slow moving, so it will continue to direct a very cold south to southwesterly airstream over our state for the next few days. Then that high pressure system will start to dominate, bringing fine conditions by next weekend. Interstate tomorrow, mainly fine in most capitals, but it will be wet and cold in Canberra, showers and windy for Melbourne, and a shower or two expected down in Hobart. Well, back in our state, we had heavy showers and isolated thunderstorms over the agricultural districts and southern interiors today, as well as some small hail around the back of the ranges. The highest rainfall recorded to 3 p.m. was 11 millimetres at Victor Harbour. Temperatures ranged from just 9 degrees at Mount Crawford up to a mild 21 at Oodnadatta. Well, tonight we'll get more showers and possible hail over the central and eastern districts, but they will contract to the northeast and clear tonight. So tomorrow we can expect a much better day. However, it will stay cool to cold with scattered showers and fresh to strong southwesterly winds moderating during the day. A strong wind warning is still current for South Australian coastal waters, and on our local waters, southwesterly winds of 15 to 20 knots with seas up to 2 metres. In the city, a cool to cold day with showers easing. Our top will still reach 16 degrees after an overnight low of 9. And looking ahead, it looks like we're stuck on 16 degrees with a few showers until at least Thursday, and then up to 17, big deal, on Friday and Saturday with a mainly fine weekend forecast. Well, that's it from me. I hope you can join me on AM Adelaide at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning for our live 2-hour Adelaide Cup special. Until then, good night.
Thanks, Shirley. Hope it's special. Tomorrow's holiday for the Adelaide Cup means a day off for most people, but not for those who'll be operating speed cameras. Bad luck. They'll be concentrating their efforts down south tomorrow, ranging from Door Park all the way down to Noarlunga. Watch out for at least 3 more cameras at Ranilla. Back closer to town, Fullerton, Unley and Crossroads are being targeted. Also Grange Road at Westbourne Park. There's been no advice of locations east or west of the city. And finally, there were plenty of soggy doggies with their even wetter human companions on the march today. They all braved the elements for the RSPCA's annual Million Paws Walk. Some came prepared with special canine coats, but for others, the frizzy look was the order of the day. There were about 2,000 entrants today, about half those expected. But the good news, the RSPCA raised around $30,000. A real dog day afternoon. We'll see you next weekend. Good night.
A premiere movie adventure like no other when Anthony Hopkins and Cuba Gooding Jr. star in Instinct, tonight on 7.